inside. But didn't look too concerned about it, Dave Olstead. And it's Widnes who'll get us underway. The words of their coach, Paul Cullen, presumably ringing in their ears after the way they let their grip on that game slip.
The things that worked for Widnes were speed around the ruck, being nice and tight, nice and direct, quite low risk in what they were doing, and good defence. We'll get a good gauge on what they're wanting to do defensively in this opening couple of sets of 6.
Lee Wingfield taking that ball up for the Leigh Centurions, and then Stanton plays the ball. Watson just straying outside his 40. Kick into the arms of Los Wildboar. Wildboar in possession. One of those injured Widnes Vikings players, Toa Koilove, sitting on the sidelines watching this one, and he's with Ben Pro.
Toa, already a difficult match between these two so far this season. Great start for you, but then Leigh came back.
Yeah, we expected that. It's like a great tussle out there at the moment. I thought after the first couple of tries we might have kicked on from there, but full credit to Leigh. They come back strong and scored a couple of tries themselves.
Has there been much talked about pressure in the Widnes changing room, because obviously 2 defeats before this today?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We know we want to be at the end of the season. We want to be up near the top somewhere. So we've got to start with games like this. And if we come out like we started in the first half, I think we'll get away with a win here.
Thanks very much, Toa.
No problem.
Toa Koilove recovering from a knee injury. In fact, I think he had a visit to the surgeon earlier this week to have that looked at. So he's one of the absentees for this Widnes Viking side. Gaskell, another one. Scott Yates, Richard Fletcher still out, and Ian Morrison unavailable. Paul Cullen sticking with an unchanged side here tonight. And again, they are trailing.
I'm sure both Paul Cullen and Paul Rowley at half-time would have said, if you make a mistake or you give a penalty away, it doesn't give the opposition the right to score a try. You've got to really concentrate. You've got to focus on your job in hand. 50% of the game, rugby league, is about defence, and 50% is about attack. So get your defence in order.
Watson, again kicking right down the middle of the field. Wildboar fields it, and then Flynn brings it back and just glides away from Watson's tackle.
He has lovely footwork, Flynn, really late when he's coming to collision. Really always beats that first man.
A Wildboar now. Former Featherstone Rovers player, in fact he was their Player of the Year in 2008. Not just that, I think he picked up numerous awards at their end of season night. He's picked up a bit of a knock there, in fact, Los Wildboar. He's walking away from the tackle, just holding the side of his head. But Widnes on the attack now. Barkulis struggling to get to his feet to play the ball, looking at referee Hewer, saying, come on. Webster puts the kick over the top. Duffy is chasing it, so is Mark Smith. Watson very leisurely, and Smith has got there, I think. He's gone to the video ref again. Busy night for Robert Hicks. What will he make of this one? Mark Smith didn't give up on that chase.
Mark Smith done everything right, but could Robert Hicks penalise Mark Smith for pushing? Was Ian Morton in the back to ground this ball? You can see, sorry, it's Ian Watson. Ian Watson's there. Mark Smith pushes him out the way, obstructs him from getting the ball, obviously grounds the ball. But good kick from James Webster. Again, it's all about that field position, building pressure, and this was pressure that Ian Watson had to deal with. I'm sure he would have dealt with that only for the little nudge of Mark Smith in his back.
Well, Watson was being very casual about that. It's more than a little nudge, I think, Terry.
No try.
No try. The penalty is conceded.
That was always going to be the case, wasn't it?
Yeah, no.
That's just a little nudge. It's a forward on a half-back. But they give the penalty away. How can they now defend this set? I say it doesn't give them the right to come down the other end of the pitch. You've got to defend with a bit of urgency. And again, Paul Cullen would have mentioned them were the penalties. You can't give silly penalties away.
And if you do, you just man up and get on with the job in hand, and that's defending.
And the conditions not getting any easier here. Heavy shower falling now. Not the warmest of nights. Oh, and McConnell has just got a bang in the eye there and went straight to the ground. Won't go on about the weather because we got got told off for belly aching about conditions in Whitehaven.
It were freezing
Well,
last week.
no, but normal mortals in Whitehaven say it was a typical spring evening. But here comes Widnes again, and Dodd, can he get away? Stanton comes across to make the tackle. Dodd trying to bamboozle him. Dodd, and Wild Ball was just too far away for him to make the pass. But they're here with Flynn. Flynn going for it straight up the middle, and still going. Just short of the try line, Paddy Flynn. And he's left Stanton flattened in his wake. They're attacking that end, populated by the Widnes supporters. Webster puts the kick in. It's a great one. They're in for the try, and it's Michael Ostick. What was he doing out there? Well, what a try that was, and Ostick claims it. The unlikeliest of try scorers out there on that right-hand side. Thumbs up from the youngster. And what a great attack that was from this Widnes Vikings side. Dodd and then Flynn having the opportunities. In the end, it was one of the props who did the scoring.
It was a beautiful break to get them in the field position. Simple draw and pass. And just pins his ears back. And you think to yourself, can Dodd make it or should he pass? No, the correct decision was to keep hold of the ball. And Flynn trundles onto the ball, gets it right near the line, and Webster with a pinpoint accurate kick. What is Ostick doing on the wing? It doesn't matter when you get the ball down like that. 4 points for Widnes.
Michael Ostick getting his third try of the season. He's been ever present so far in this campaign, and that has lifted the Widnes Vikings' spirits. And Bannister is taking over the kicking duties. And conditions really are tricky now, as you probably saw in that last shot, as Michael Ostick claimed that ball that wins straight into the lens of the cameraman. Bannister's pushed that one across the face of the post. Are they going to rue these missed goal kicks? They've only succeeded one so far, and it's 14-all the scoreline now.
There's Michael Ostick, the guy who scored that try, but this is fantastic vision by Anthony Thackeray, normally a halfback, playing on the wing. Loz Wildball just totally pins his ears back, passes the ball inside to Gavin Dodd, but fantastic vision from Anthony Thackeray, who's covering on the wing for Widnes. Just to play the urgency, you've got to take that play. Paul Cullen will be more happy with the start, but again, both of these coaches will be saying discipline, discipline, discipline.
I was just going to say that, Tez. I don't think the trick plays and things that go on instinct will go with this Leigh side. I think there's more quality and class with Widnes. Where they break down is the nuts and bolts of the game, knocking those sets out and being disciplined in their approach.
And you know what, Baz? Sometimes it's the grit and determination that gets you the win.
Coming up to 7 minutes gone in this second half. And the Widnes Vikings have struck for a shot. Leigh Duran felt that as James Taylor came barrelling in to make the hit on him.
James Taylor just lined him up. He come flying across three of his own defenders. He wanted Leigh Duran.
And words being exchanged there between Duran and I'm not sure it was James Taylor he was having words with, actually. And talking of words, let's find out what words of wisdom were said by the two coaches, what the messages were with Ben Pro on the sidelines.
Well, apparently it was a very calm Paul Cullen, Bill, in the Widnes dressing room at half-time. He wanted the Vikings to concentrate on their discipline. He made the point that Leigh got back into the game in that first period thanks to two penalties that Widnes had given away. Their biggest injury worry, the injury to Steve Tyrer. He's got a back spasm that still hopefully can return. That's perhaps why Michael Ostick found himself out there for that try. As for Leigh, Leigh coach Paul Rowley wants more of the same. They've got a problem with Dave Olsted, already got 2 tries for the Centurions. He's got a calf problem and currently on the sidelines at the moment.
That is a blow with Olsted in a bit of a purple patch this evening. Would be hoping to add to his try tally. And that kick from McConnell, fielded by Wildball. Oh, he's lost that. He's lost that ball.
That's it, you see, that's the discipline we're talking about.
Not just slippery conditions as well.
Exactly, but he's got hold of this ball, he's not got a right to let go of it. He's trying to play the ball as quick as he can. I seem to say it every week, but if he has his thumb around that ball...
Lost Wildball, and 1 moment ago he was helping to set up that try from Ostick. Now he's come up with the error at the other end of the field, which has put his side under a little bit of pressure.
But again, Bill, no team's got a right to score after someone's made a mistake. It's how you defend and how you really get up for this set.
Watson now. Watson. Pass for Adam Rudd, and Rudd has knocked that on.
Great pressure defensively by Thackeray. He comes up, meets the lead player as he catches it. As we keep saying, he's not normally a winger. He might not know the winger's rules that they're not allowed to tackle. Muscular touch, judges, Bill. Don't look at me like that.
Just because the prop has scored a try this evening. Two props. Ostick
and one was in the
Hobson,
centre.
And one was on the wing.
They can do anything these days, these front rowers.
To your feet, come on.
Dodd was looking for a penalty there, looked at Sir Referee Hewer for some support. Varkulis is mobbed by the Centurion supporters, and those Leigh fans on his shoulder, on the Widnes' shoulders, really are giving them some stick. And they're struggling to make ground now. Jim Gannon, driven back.
Great intensity defensively. They've made no meters whatsoever, Widnes here. Trying to pass the way out of trouble.
That's the fifth tackle. Patterson plays the ball. And Duffy wellies that one downfield, and it's not a bad kick. He's found a bit of space. And it's a great chase. Look who's leading it, Gannon. The maiden trying to go round the outside of Thackeray. Thackeray gets a hold of him. Support comes from Bannister to make the tackle. But Leigh responding well to that try. Rudd caught one for his corner there from Bannister. Here's Aaron Smith now. Smith taking on Ostick. 3 tackles gone on that 30-metre line. Here is Watson. Watson links up with Mort. Mort's ball out wide. Back with Watson. Watson spins away from Ostick. Here it's Morton into the corner. And Donlan, I think, has got the try.
No, I think he's dropped that, Bill. I think he's dropped it. He could even be in touch, but Ian Watson is such an important player for this Leigh side. He shapes to kick and comes back to the short side. We'll have another look.
Donlan, has he got this ball down? I reckon he has.
You're right, Bill.
Robert Hicks, he's had a busy night. He's had a couple of decisions already.
That's outstanding work from Stuart Donlan there.
Well, a winger by trade, been playing in the half-back positions, has the Leigh Centurion skipper. But has he got his 9th try of the season?
You're spot on, Bill. I think this is a try. Gets the ball down first. He's got the ball out in front of him. So even if his body, whilst in the air, drifts over the sideline, he gets that ball down quick.
The try is awarded, and Leigh have hit straight back. Donlan with the try. Great pass from Ian Mort as well to put him in the corner. And Leigh Centurions reclaim the lead.
Just as I said right at the start, Ian Watson's kicking game is a threat whenever he plays and whichever team he plays for. And Duffy needs to get out and put pressure on him. And by putting pressure on him, he leaves that gap. Ian Watson spots it on the blind side, and Paul Roll is delighted with that. They just will not go away, this Leigh side. Great character within the squad.
Mort is the goal kicker for his side. Now then, can he land one? The goal kickers haven't had a good night tonight. In fact, between the 3 of them, Mort, Tyre and Bannister, they've managed 2 successful conversions from 7 attempts.
28, cheers, Paul.
So this one, way out wide. And the rain still coming down. It's eased off a little bit here. Tight to the touchline, but this favours his kicking style. That, the crowd will tell you, is on target. And Leigh Centurions, are they on target for their first cooperative championship home win at the new stadium? They lead by 20 points to 14, and there's 27 minutes to go.
John Duffy had done everything right. He got out, he tried to put as much pressure on Ian Watson. Widnes were giving Ian Watson far too much space in that first half. Stuart Donlan just dives over in the corner. But again, a real big enthusiastic start by this Leigh side. And it's the big guys, likes of Chris Hill, that are really taking the battle to the Widnes forwards.
Gannon arrives to meet the scrum cap Chris Hill, who plays the ball. Wingfield now, and that was a high shot, and they've given another penalty away. And Ostick, well, he knows, he's furious with himself, Michael Ostick.
And again, a penalty relieving the pressure. Ian Watson didn't make many yards with that ball. They've really got to pressure him. Jim Gannon will be trying his hardest, and Mark Smith will be saying to his guys, you've got to lay me a platform. When you lay me a platform, I will go forward and create something.
Tackle through, move!
Wingfield plays the ball in his own half. Rudd, oh, clung on to that one. It was really fiercely sent to him, and it looked as though it was going to ricochet away. Here's Armitstead now. That's the fifth tackle. McConnell drills the kick down the sidelines. It's a good one into the corner. Thackeray is there, and Wildboar now. More injury news from Ben Pro.
It's the Leigh winger Nick Stanton, Bill. He's got a suspected fractured cheekbone. Of course, on the other side, Dean Gaskell of Widnes already carrying a similar injury into today's match, and Nick Stanton won't be coming back in this game.
That is a blow for the Leigh Centurions. He's a really fiery performer, Nick Stanton.
This is a shame for Leigh. A lovely little percentage kick into the corner. And Ian Watson has a tendency just to jump on defence. He's only a little lad. Just gives away a penalty.
Gannon now. Two tackles gone. Smith. Here is Ostick. Duffy. Patterson. Varkulis motoring onto that ball. Here is Duffy. Webster now. Webster, Wildboar joining in the attack, and Wildboar sells one dummy. Oh, nice football from Loz Wildboar, but then Chris Hill gets hold of him and says, that's enough of that trickery.
I'm watching James Webster. He keeps on looking up and pointing at Ian Watson. He wants his charges to run at him.
Duffy floats the pass out wide to Varkulis. Flynn kicks ahead and is then taken down. Referee says nothing wrong with that. The kick was always too strong from Paddy Flynn. He was never going to get onto the end of that.
You're right, Bill. The referee got a few saying there was nothing wrong with that. The kick was just too strong from Paddy Flynn. Kicked the ball dead. So again, Leigh bringing the ball back from their own territory. That's better defence. Richard Varkulis. He draws the man. Paddy Flynn gets the ball on his outside. Doesn't keep his feet and the ball goes dead. Possession to Leigh on their own 20.
Well, Stuart Donlan opposing him now out there on the wing. He's a really seasoned campaigner, 30 years of age, knows all about wing trickery. Knew what he had to do in that situation. And Stuart Donlan's Leigh side on course at the moment, still 24 minutes to go, but on course for another win over this Widnes Viking side. A double would be some performance. They've won already on what Ashley Thackeray has lost that ball. It's gone forward. It's still on the last, in fact. He didn't get a touch to it. Durbin now. Durbin kicks ahead, and well, they're still loose. It's still loose, and eventually it's Flynn that gets it dead. And Gareth Ewer, I think, like everybody else, asking just exactly what was going on there, because that again was a terrible tangle.
Check the grounding, please.
He's asking video ref Hicks to check the grounding. I don't think there was any grounding, was there?
It comes from a McConnell kick from dummy half.
Morrison is.
Scatter defence here. Morrison, for me, is in front of Jamie Durbin when he puts this kick in. Dave McConnell puts a lovely kick up. It's really difficult to deal with, but there's a right carry on at the back there. Paddy Flynn doesn't know whether to pick it up or leave it for his fullback Loz Wildboar. There's no downward pressure on that, but I said that in the first half. Leigh just starting to get some momentum. Mike Morrison's in front, but he pulls himself away from the action. Does that cancel the penalty out? Because it's Jamie Durbin's own kick. He's allowed to chase it.
On the 20-metre.
No, that's a 20-metre restart for me.
Right.
20-metre restart or the penalty.
Outside. Number
Will it be?
10 is always in front. He's always within the 10.
Penalty it is.
Onside.
Mike Morrison was
Onside.
offside, so that is a let-off for the Widnes Vikings. That could have gone horribly wrong, as it did in the first half. There you can see Morrison, the left of your screen. A judge to have got involved there.
First move.
But
Let's go.
I think you have to say, we mentioned it earlier on about watering this pitch. You water the pitch and then the heavens open. And
Well,
then
we do have to congratulate both sets of players just as they drop the ball, but
Penalty for the ball steal.
there's been relatively few errors in this game. Michael Ostick goes into contact, he's getting good leg drive, looking for the floor, and there's a Leigh player that pulls it out.
Wait. Go.
So coming up to the final quarter of this game,
Second.
and it's the Leigh Centurions who are ahead by 20 points to 14 here, having been 10-0 down.
They're coming back on the
But
top.
Leigh concede the penalty.
Back-to-back penalties as well, though. Dave McConnell not letting Jim Gannon get up. And that's what happens if you run really strong and hard. You're going to get rewarded. The Leigh players flying in from everywhere, trying to dominate these Widnes forwards now.
That's 4 penalties in a row that Leigh have conceded.
Second move.
And are they going to pay the penalty now? Webster
Let's go. Let's run. Let's run.
looking to repeat his feat of last week, and another penalty. Mark Smith taking exception to something that Chris Hill did, I think, there. Leigh Duran getting involved. The Widnes supporters immediately behind the post there didn't like it either.
All right, Stu, we've had 3 penalties there. The last one's for a high tackle, it's a grapple. Make sure you get them calmed down.
High
right?
tackle
3
and
penalties in the belt ends.
Stuart Donlan being asked to give his players the word. So Widnes, another penalty, and they're going for the 2 points. Well, we saw them do this at Whitehaven.
I was just thinking the same thing, probably at the same part of the game as well. Here's the penalty. Here's all the penalties, one after another. There's the off-stick. Jim Gannon fighting to get up to play the ball. That's number 2. This is number 3, again trying to buy an extra second.
Sorry?
Arms, it's really messy.
Yeah, I'll just leave him out. He's out of the
Yeah,
play.
just like last week,
I'll just leave him because we've got for goal.
Widnes choosing to take the points. Will it cost them like?
Bannister for bang in front of the post. His first success of the evening. 20 points to 16, the scoreline now. So Widnes cut the gap.
But they've still got to score another try. And now Leigh have got the ball. They're going to kick off to the Widnes side. This is a concentration set for Widnes. The amount of times you see a mistake when a team scores a try or kicks a penalty conversion, it's a really full-on concentration set, this. Because Leigh are down there, the big dominant forwards, they look to force that error, they look to pressure Widnes in every tackle and every exchange that they can.
So this game really is going to and fro.
One side, Tony.
Widnes taking a lead, Leigh hitting back, Widnes coming back at them, and it really is a very hard one to call this. But when you get errors like that, it makes it a bit easier for the opposition. Ostick has conceded possession, Leigh have it back. Oh, and Winfield's gone without it.
First one. Scrum. Widnes heading please.
Very, very lucky Widnes there. I said, this is Michael Ostick. He tries to spin out of that tackle, but it was big Mike Morrison who come in and put a shot on. And Widnes were very lucky that Leigh Wingfield lost that ball. It's a full concentration set of 6 when you're bringing the ball away from your own line. You've got to earn the right to go forward. You've got to try and play in that field position.
First move. Wait. Let's go.
20 points to 16, the scoreline, and again they've gone without the ball, and Leigh have got it back, and it was Bannister who was the culprit that time.
This game keeps tipping from side to side.
Hobson's back on, he's lost it. It's like a bar of soap out there.
But it was that man Steve Bannister. He made the mistake, and he was going to get that ball back for his teammates. He come out of the line. If you come out of the line, you've got to make sure you come up with that tackle. Here he goes, bang.
It's a smash-a-thon.
Second move. I never had a mark, Joe.
So can one of these sides just settle down and get a grip on the ball? And they went looking for Leigh Duran there.
James Taylor again flying out the line across his players, trying to put a shot on the Leigh Duran.
Gavin Dodd.
Tackle 4. Move.
So inside the final quarter of this game,
Go.
Leigh ahead, but only just. And the way this game has swung to and fro, you really wouldn't bet against the Widnes Vikings recapturing the lead. The last tackle and a little kick over the top from Webster. Wildball was on the chase, but well dealt with. McConnell it was. Donlan now.
A lovely kick through. Webster and Watson have such an important part to play in this game. Every team up, the ball's come out again then.
And that'll be a penalty. It was stolen. There was a Widnes hand in there.
Every team at some point has a crazy crackers part of the match, and it's who gets back to play in the nuts and bolts, knocking the sets out, playing field position. Where's the hand in there? Not too sure about that one either.
Let's go. Discipline, fellas.
Here's Mike Morrison. Boos from the Widnes supporters, their former player. Hobson now, and Hobson. Oh, and Smith.
Shot by Mark Smith.
What a shot from Mark Smith on Andy Hobson, and the ball came loose.
That's what you want. You want your captain to lead from the front, and he got the biggest guy on Leigh's side, and he put a shot on him. As I say, you come out flying out the line, you've got to come up with that tackle. It's slippery conditions, but bang! He knocks big Andy Hobson to the ground. Andy Hobson thinks he's been shot.
You don't suppose Jim Gannon might have had something to do with that as well, do you? He was seen in the vicinity. And another penalty in the game, just getting a little bit scrappy now. And that's a little right, Leigh Duran. And Taylor still going at it, and that has been simmering, hasn't it?
And it's James Taylor's been looking for Leigh Duran every time he gets the ball. But your focus has got to be on the end result, not about personal battles on the park. Now you've got to concentrate on doing the job.
But let's have it right, let's have it right. The momentum of a game can be stopped by somebody giving something away, and a physical confrontation is part of rugby league. It's who now gets back to playing the game.
And that's exactly it, Barry.
I'm not one of these that says there's no part to be played by our players in this. I think there's an element of it in most games.
Get a discipline, sorry. Where you go?
Gareth Hewitt laying down the law and giving the penalty to the Widnes Vikings, and Leigh Duran, a former Leigh Centurion, of course, so not being given the warmest of welcomes on his return to Leigh. Hobson,
And who makes that tackle?
And who took the ball up? Them two guys again.
Here's Gannon.
There's no hiding place on the rugby park for rugby players, is there? If someone's looking for you, they'll find you anywhere on that park.
Especially when you're wearing a high visibility shirt. Webster so near the try line.
Andy Hobson on your feet.
Smith all the way back to Duffy, coming from deep, and then Duffy, there's a wall of Centurions there to greet him. Kavanagh almost crawling underneath the Leigh defenders. Duffy, little kick in, Bannister was chasing. Great hands from Steve Maiden, and Maiden could be away here. Has he got the legs? Smith is chasing him. He's got support from Durbin, and Durbin telling him, take the tackle, go to ground.
What work by Steve Maiden, but what about that guy again, Mark Smith? Pocket against winger.
Donlan will chase it. They're all chasing it. Tony Stewart is after it as well, but the ball over the dead ball line. End-to-end stuff. Fantastic stuff from these two sides.
Look at Steve Maiden. He catches the ball under all kinds of pressure, pins his ears back. But again, it's the captain, Mark Smith. He never gives up. He pulls him down just on the halfway line. But it's this next play. Ian Watson again with a real pinpoint kick, putting Widnes under pressure. But Paddy Flynn are taking no chances with that ball whatsoever.
20 points to 16, the scoreline here. 15 minutes to go. The Leigh Sports Village Stadium, which will be officially open next week by Her Majesty the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. We thought they were here earlier on because they kept playing the national anthem all afternoon, but there's been no sign unless she's on that. Her Majesty is on the terrace to the right of us. If so, she'll be enjoying this one. Durbin getting entangled, yeah. And James Taylor just overrunning things, just getting a little bit carried away there, and also getting a bit furious with his teammate, I think.
His passion is very high now. He wants that ball and he wants to run as hard as he can. Needs to focus, get back to the game, get back to his job.
Go.
Here is Webster now. Webster trying to weave his way through the lead defenders. 2 tackles gone.
They're looking for Jamie Durbin, number 26 in your shot there. Pointing at him all the time they are.
Appeals for a high tackle, that ball's come loose. It was Morrison and Gannon, and tell you what, it is getting very heated out there. A few words said after that tackle.
Jim Gannon lose the ball,
Let's get the ball,
but it's that no one was pushing up him. There's no one in support, so the Leigh players can come in, they can dominate Jim Gannon. Mike Morrison goes for a tackle.
Let's go.
Dave McConnell comes over the top, dumps Jim Gannon to the ground. You've got to have support players when you run, otherwise you're an easy target.
Leigh holding on to this lead. I wouldn't say they were clinging on,
Go.
but they're certainly not home and dry here. Here's Taylor.
That's 2. Move.
Taylor has lost that ball and gets the penalty. There was a hand in there, says referee Hewer.
Taylor takes it up. Duran makes the tackle, along with Varkulis. Those 2 players like magnets to one another now. Varkulis in your screen there, he was judged. We've given away the penalty.
All right, Ian.
Well, in fact, the word has come out from the stand. There's Paul Rowley urging his side to go for 2 points, and that's what they're going to do.
I think Widnes will be relieved that they've gone for the 2 points. The momentum was swinging into the Leigh side. They were putting all the pressure on the Widnes side, down in their half.
Ian Mort then with this long-range kick. He's outside, only by a few inches outside the 40-metre line in the Widnes half. He's going to have to give this one a bit of welly. He's kicked 2 already tonight to take his tally for the season to 42. Of course, it was his heroics that won the game at the Stobart Stadium earlier in the season at Easter for the Leigh Centurions. And this could be a crucial kick from the Leigh Centurions fullback, aiming towards those Leigh supporters behind the posts. And they will tell you that that one is bang on target. Mort lands it, and have Leigh Centurions landed another win against the Widnes Vikings. They lead by 22 points to 16 with coming up to 12 minutes to go here.
Leigh through Paul Rowley choosing to take 2 points. I think the momentum is with Leigh. I think the rugby smarts are being played by Leigh, and although we keep exchanging penalties and knock-ons, it seems to me the Leigh side that are willing to get back to playing the game.
Wild Boar hoists that to go for the short restart, and it's Leigh who come up with it, and Lee Patterson just couldn't get a hold of the ball underneath his feet. For a moment it looked as though Gannon's work was going to help Widnes get the ball back, but it was Patterson who was able to gather it, or not gather it I should say.
Gannon does everything right, gets it back, but Lee Patterson unfortunately can't get down, and then surrenders another penalty.
Now then, will they kick this one?
Ian Watson's punted straight to the sticks. There's the penalty. It was Lee Patterson who gives that penalty away. Ian Watson telling his troops that there's not long left now.
10 minutes.
Kick these 2 points and we get the ball back. Paul Cullen will be very disappointed. Again, penalties that lead to points.
And this one just as distant. Oh, not impressed. The Widnes Viking supporters, having seen their side go into a 10-0 lead here. Could be another defeat, third defeat in a row for this Widnes Viking side. They don't have the best of records here in Leigh. The Centurions won 3 from 4 against Widnes last year. And in fact, they've lost only 1 of the last 6 games at home to Widnes. Of course, those have been up the road at Hilton Park.
Time on.
Now in their shiny new Leigh Sports Village Stadium. And Ian Mort really head on to the posts. Same distance as last time. And again, he's given that one a good belt, but this time he's wide of the target, so still just to try and a goal separating these two sides. 22 points to 16, the scoreline. We're in for a nerve-jangling finish. Well, it's the Cooperative Championship. What else would you expect?
Great stuff on a Thursday night, but what Leigh have done, they've chewed a couple of minutes up there, knocked some minutes off that clock. You only have to win the game once. If Widnes don't score again, if Leigh don't score again, then Leigh go home as the victors, and they'll be delighted with that.
And it's Leigh in possession. Gannon over the top. Discipline is going to be the key in the closing 9 minutes here.
There's a lot that can happen in 9 minutes though, Bill. This game is far from over.
Armitstead, that's a good offload from him to McConnell. And Widnes on the back foot. Aaron Smith driving towards those posts. Smith gets to his feet. Watson now. Watson will go for one. He'll get it. And Ian Watson with the one-pointer nudges Leigh Centurions nearer to victory here, to their first win of the championship season at this stadium.
Leigh aren't looking to close the shot down. They're still looking to attack. They're still looking to play. You can see Ian Watson still directing his troops on what he wants them to do. Well, this is just clever play. Ian Watson has been around for so long. Steps off his right foot, just keys it up. It's a neat little kick, and that gets the 1 point. Widnes now need to score twice to get back and win this game.
It seems like 33 years ago since Ian Watson was a young kid at Salford, but all that experience, all those miles on the clock means that he can orchestrate a game on his own. Catches that ball.
Oh, he catches Jim Gannon as well.
He knows.
Again, it's Jim Gannon leading from the front.
Ian Watson's on his 8th club here at Leigh. And he's been ever present in all 14 games this season. He's 32 years of age, but a real wily performer. I think he took that one on his own head. He decided we're going for one here. There was no order out there.
Jamie Durbin was actually stood on the other side, and Ian Watson just said, look, get out of the way. My ball, plonks it over, chewing precious seconds, precious minutes up.
Chris Hill plays the ball. Well, Widnes Vikings have got 8 minutes now to try and rescue this game. They need something spectacular. They almost got it there.
I'm not sure about passing the ball behind your fullback, though. Loz Wildball looks in some pain. You never normally see Loz Wildball lie down.
Wildball is still down.
That's a teammate for you. Anthony Thackeray just gets the ball off him, plays it as quick as he can, doesn't even ask him how he is.
2 feet line, Dave. Let's work.
Still struggling as Varkulis, Leigh Duran plays the ball.
And he's going straight to the sideline, Loz Wildball.
Webster now, keeping a close eye on Webster.
Good pressure. They're going backwards, Widnes.
They've got a chance their arm, haven't they?
Yeah, they need to play, and we talked about being patient. He looks like he's injured himself.
Never. Do you think he's actually injured?
I was going to say where it looks like he's injured himself, but I'll leave it.
I'll just leave it at that, Barry. The pass ricochets off a Leigh body, and it's picked up by Donlan. Back to 1, says the referee, and then the penalty from frustration, really. Varkulis disagreeing with that decision from Gareth Ewer.
They're in free fall here, Widnes. They're trying to move the ball, trying to get it out to that winger. I think it's Flynn. Varkulis. Brain explosion. Not the brightest bulb in the toolbox.
So 6 minutes to go, and the ball is knocked on, says Gareth Ewer, and that's going to give Widnes Vikings precious possession.
Incorrect play of the ball. Looks like he's dropped it before he plays it.
It's Taylor who was the culprit. Paul Cullen looking pretty composed, but knowing that time is running out for his side. There's Watson with the tackle. Ian Watson, the 42nd drop goal of his extensive career that was. It was his first of the season. 42 drop goals in his long career, and what a crucial one it could be. And it's not just drop goals he's contributing. Tackle there as well on Gavin Dodd. Dodd saying there should have been a penalty. There'll now be a scrum, and it's going to be head and feed to the Leigh Centurions, I think, and it really is all going horribly wrong for the Widnes Vikings.
But you know, sometimes just let the referee ref the game. Don't be looking for the penalty. Don't be looking to earn your side that penalty and that cheap yardage. Get up and play the ball as quick as you can. Josh Sim was looking what was in front of him then, because he was coming off a slow play the ball.
Dave Armistead, come on. That's it. Come on. Out.
Right.
First. Move. Wait. Go.
Durbin. And here's Taylor now.
Move.
2 tackles gone. Paul Rowley looking to maintain his winning streak as coach since assuming that role, with Neil Kelly taking on director of football, and Rowley there. Well, it'll be a 100% record. He's side 1 at Batley, although that was a bit nerve-wracking. And looks like another win now inside the last 5 minutes.
He really has been the difference tonight, Ian Watson, with his kicks, with his knowledge, just wanting to slow that game down, knows exactly what to do and when to do it. Tremendous game.
Leigh just running the clock down now, knowing that Widnes have really got to come up with something spectacular to snatch this one now. They will get a bonus point the way things stand at the moment, although another Leigh try and a successful conversion would deny them even that. So Leigh hoping to climb to 4th in the table on the back of this victory. This win would see them do that. And it would be another setback for the Widnes Viking side. They were going so well with the wins against Sheffield and Batley and Doncaster, and then they've really lost their way. The last win now was back in April the 26th, when they beat the Sheffield Eagles, and even that was close, 22-20. Yeah, and it does seem an awful long time since they were starting the season with a 70-0 win over Toulouse. Play on, there's a Leigh player down. Varkulis will play on. Varkulis will get to the line and get the try, or will he? He's going to go to the video ref, I think. There's a Leigh player down in back play. How did that ball
Can you check
come loose? Varkulis wasn't going to hang around and wait for the decision. He just had the legs at the end of what's been a gruelling game to get to the try line.
Gareth wants to go back to see how Jamie Durbin went to the ground. Was he obstructed? Was it Leigh Duran who took Jamie Durbin out? The Leigh crowd definitely thinks so, but Varkulis wasn't waiting around. He's pinned his ears back. He's gone as fast as he can for that corner and for that try line.
Neat side foot from Thackeray.
Here you can see the shot. There's Jamie Durbin on your right-hand side.
Do you know my only problem with this? If Varkulis does not score the try, then Gareth Ewer can't go back and have a look how this happens here. You've got to play on sometimes, but there's been some kind of collision here. I think Jamie Durbin has milked it for all it's worth.
Well, Leigh Duran has carried on his same line. He doesn't have to move out the road, does he, Barry? He stood his ground. Jamie Durbin gets up, he runs straight at Leigh Duran. From that angle, it looks like he's dropped his shoulder into it.
I was just going to say, because Leigh Duran has braced himself, Jamie Durbin, I think, has made a meal out of it. That's a penalty.
Robert Hicks is the video ref. He's having a look at this. The players are standing hands on hips in the middle of the field.
Yep.
Richard Varkulis got to the try line, got the ball down, but it's not going to count. Obstruction is the call. And a sigh of exasperation from Paul Cullen, who again has seen his side come up short.
Obstruction by Leigh Duran.
It's the correct decision, but the touch judge is directly in line with it. As I said before, if Varkulis don't put the ball down, how do we restart the game? That just goes unpunished.
As it is, it's a penalty on the halfway line, and Widnes hopes of maybe snatching something have really gone with that, you feel. And it's the Leigh Centurions who are running the clock down now with under 3 minutes to go. They're ahead by 23 points to 16. And looking to finish with a flourish that would yet deny the Widnes Vikings a bonus point, and Armitstead, who really started this Leigh fight back with a little kick that Hobson touched down. McConnell almost burrowing his way through.
Where's Watson?
He's short. Watson, is he hanging back for another one? He's going to drop the ball back into Armitstead. Durbin kicks it on, but Leigh Duran, I think, has pounced on it.
Leigh Duran had to make sure he got that ball in order. It was another try from the Leigh side. What can Widnes do? A couple of minutes left on the clock. The offload from the Leigh player, Jamie Durbin, tried to kick that ball through. John Duffy trying everything. Paddy Flynn going behind the ruck. Can he come up with an 80-yard effort?
Here's Flynn. Talking about that Toulouse win, 70-0, and Widnes' hopes were high, and Flynn getting the hat-trick in half an hour. He's been back down to earth, really.
And Toulouse themselves are a very different side now. They're managing to adjust and cope with Championship rugby.
They've won the last 4, in fact, Toulouse. That is going to be some game, Toulouse against Barrow.
Really looking forward to that. Fantastic contest. Another chance to get up to Cumbria, Bill. We like it up there.
It's in Toulouse.
I'm going to Cumbria.
Oh, well, I'm sure you'll have a good time in Barrow. You'll be made most welcome.
In my mate, Brett.
Tackle 3. Move.
Well, Leigh Centurions will be celebrating the opening of this new stadium next week. In the presence of Her Majesty the Queen. That will be a big day for all concerned here at Leigh Sports Village. Of course, it's not just about the Centurions, it's very much a local facility. But it's the new home for this Leigh side. They've had to wait for their first win in the championship, but they're just 30 seconds away from it now, and they'll go for one more. Durbin fancies that one. He's wide of the target.
Should have given it to the old man. Jamie Durbin with his right foot. Just can't get it over. But Paul Rowley, the Leigh coach, he was in your screen a while ago. He deserves a lot of credit. He's worked so hard, and in the short space of time he's got.
Nothing has gone right for Widnes, really. Virtually since they scored that try from Ostick early in this second half. And the hooter sounds, and it's Leigh who celebrates. And again, bitter disappointment for this Widnes Vikings side.